we'll put Fox over here. There's no sense of putting Fox, ABC. I mean, you just go to Fox and hit channel up, and then you're fine. The ones premium, which would be like your, let's go here, HBO, and it might have something else, you know. So we'll put go back to national, something more random. Maybe a little Disney Channel. Okay, so now I'm done with that. I'm gonna hit Control Save, and there's nothing in here. Xbox, you know, so I'm gonna now go back to View. I'm gonna go back to Simulator. Okay, and I'll put my simulator here. Okay, now, right now we're gonna do some programming. Now, the first thing that someone does, this is how we do macro programming. We're going to come in here and understand what this is. I use record. We have here is to add some delays and my jump to. Again, I use my record to record a function, add delays, and my jump to. Okay? So let's go ahead and do some programming. When a customer presses this button, what do we want it to do? We want it to turn on our, main devices. Okay, main devices are the TV and the receiver. Okay, these are just activities. So when they press this button, what do they want it to do? I want it to turn on the TV. Okay, so I scroll. It's now blinking. So that means it's in programming mode. This is pressed and blinking. So I'm going to go down to my TV. I'm going to go to my power, and I'm going to select power on. And I like to put some delays in there. I'm going to select this button, use after every step. Sometimes you got to add more delays depending on how old the TV. The older TVs need some time to turn on before you can go to a next function, IR command. Again, this remote control will send commands as I want it to. So I'm going to go with a ½ a second delay after every step. And the next thing we're going to do is turn on the receiver. Okay, the receiver, and I'm going to go to power. I'm going to go to power on, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that. You can add Control C and Control V. You can copy, paste, and so on. Down here, after that button is pressed, what's the last thing I want it to do is go to a jump to. I want it to jump to a page. I'm going to select here 890 main pages, and I want it to go to my activities because that would be the next thing. So let's go back to main. Okay, so when this button is pressed, oops, okay, I didn't stop the programming. Okay, all right, got it. So what we're going to do here is also in here, when this button is pressed, what happens? Well, there's what's called, Verizon doesn't have an on-off button, so we have to basically turn it on in logic form. Logic form is, okay, if I was to press menu, if the cable box was off, it'll go on. If I hit menu exit, if it was on or off, it's going to go to the same status, okay, whether it was on or off. So in here, right here, the first thing is jump Verizon. I'm going to change that to jump. See where it says Verizon? It's just going to go in here and go to the first page. Instead, I just want it to go here, jump Verizon. Okay? So now when the button is pressed, watch what happens. It goes right to this page. So let's go back to main. Okay? So I'm going to select this, but we have some functions to put in. Record. I'm going to go to Verizon, the main page. Okay, now, as you can see here, there's little dots on there where it says it's able to program. So I'm going to go ahead and select menu. remember, use after every step, half a second, exit, move this down here, okay, great, and jump to Verizon. Okay, so a menu, exit, jump. So whether it was on or off, it's going to do that. So now I'm done programming that function. The next one here is the same thing. Jump Blu-ray. No, I want to change that to when the final step is going to be, because let's show you what it does. If I was to press that button, it goes here. No, I made some pages, so I want it to go to a specific page. So I come in here, I double click, jump, Blu-ray. Select OK. Now let's press it. Voila, it goes to that page. Okay, go back to main, Blu-ray. We're going to go back into record function. I want to go to my Blu-ray, and what would turn on a Blu-ray player? Play, because they also do not have what's called a discrete power on, power off. What it would require would be a play stop function. Okay, so I'll go to my Blu-ray, play, let's put a delay in there, stop, so we have play, stop, okay, and then jump to Blu-ray. We'll put the jump tos at the bottom. Okay. All right. So it didn't add a second. Okay. So Control C, Control V, and if the jump was not there, I go right here, and this is where my jump to would be. Okay. So now I'm done programming my Blu-ray, and the same thing here. This one here does have a discrete, but I have to change my jump to be jump Xbox. Select OK. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is program my Xbox by going to Power. Power on. And going right to Xbox. Now, once I'm done with, we're going to come back into these, and we're going to put our inputs when we're done here. Okay. And my Apple. Let's basically menu would turn on the Apple TV. So any button in here. As you can see, there's not many buttons that an Apple TV will control. So you just go to menu. Okay, and then jump to Apple. So now the next thing is you got to know what the inputs are. Okay. Because when this button is pressed, it'll turn on the devices, because this is the first thing somebody will do, and then they go to their devices. Okay, so when you go to Verizon, what HDMI inputs, okay, because now we'll go to putting in some inputs, okay. So I'm going to go back into record, and we know that the TV input is supposed to be HDMI, we'll say HDMI 2, and we'll go to the next thing, which is going to be, make sure this isn't, okay, that's already set up with my half a second, but I didn't add one. Okay, I'll go here, okay, yeah. And my receiver is going to be, where are you? Okay, we'll call it AV1, HDMI 1, AV1, okay, over here, okay, here's another trick you can do is, okay, you see here, I'll hit Control C, okay, select it all by hitting this and then Shift and hitting the mouse button and then Control C, okay. I go here and I can go here and Control V, and I want to change the AV1. It's actually supposed to, and I double click it, and this is where I can come in here and look for my AV2. And over here is going to be the same thing. I Control V and I double click it, and I'm going to do 3 on this one. It always is HDMI 2 on the TV. That's my ARC. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to hit Control V and double click. And this one here is going to be AV4. There you go. Alright, now I'm putting my jumps at the bottom. Let's double check them all. And I'm selecting it, holding the left clicker down and dragging it down. Okay, I am now done with adding my inputs. So I'm going to hit Control Save because I'm done with that function. Now I'm ready to move on to my next function, which is to do my power off function. So I'm going to go here. This right here is going to be a record function of turning my powers off. So the first thing I want to turn off is my TV. I want to turn off my receiver, and we're going to do some things in the background. Okay, whether the Verizon box was on or off, we're going to make it so that if we do menu, exit, power, my end status, obviously if it was on, it would turn it on. If it was off, it would turn it on. But at the end, if it was on or off, it'll take it off. The next thing we're going to do is go to my Blu-ray, which goes to play, stop, power. So whether it was an on or off, it's going to turn it off. And then you have here is your Xbox. If it was on, it'll turn it off. And we're going to do a final jump to, and this is where we jump to our main page called our main page. And it'll make sense in a minute, because if not, okay, so this right here will jump to a page right here. So this is what the customer will see when they first see the remote control. So the first thing they do is select the power on, which will then jump to the activity page. Great. And the last thing they'll do is they'll hit this button and it'll go to sleep. And there's some 2 more things we need to do. Is when I select main, it goes here. Great. It's kind of clear. So if I go to main, it goes here, which is awesome. So now if I'm within a device, obviously my power ons and offs, okay, if they got lost, we want to make sure that that has that function. So for example, here I did all this programming. So I'll select Shift and I mouse click, Control C, and I'm going to go into my Verizon and I'm going to select that button because right now it only turns off the cable. So that's not going to help me. So Control V. Go back to my main, go into my Blu-ray, go to my power, obviously. I want to turn power off, V. Okay. And this is